Hello and welcome to the YouTube channel for Catch. My name is Sam and I'm the founder and lead coach here at Catch. Unshakable confidence is the key to getting everything that you want in life and dating. So on this channel we talk about everything to do with confidence, mindset and how to implement that in your dating and relationship life. If you want to work with us in any way or find out more information, all of that is in the description box below. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about texting, and it's something that's come up in quite a few conversations over the last few weeks, and how to handle texting when you're first speaking to somebody around dates and what to do in different situations. And this is going to be more of a coaching video, so we're going to give you a few questions to help you figure out what is the best way for you to respond in a way that is confident and the most authentic version of you as well, because dating isn't the same for everyone, and for us to find someone who matches with us, we need to show up as the most secure, confident version of us. And usually when we follow a playbook by someone else, it gives us some short-term confidence, but it doesn't have any longevity. And also it's based on what's worked for someone else in their specific culture, country, their personality, and it might not work for us. So let's go through a few examples. So one situation that came up recently in conversation was this person had been on a few dates with somebody and it was going well, and they just had their third date, and following that third date, it was the day after, this person, who was a woman, hadn't heard from that person yet, and it was around lunchtime. And so they were asking us, what should I do? Should I text them first? Should I wait for them to text me? And through the conversation, it transpired that this woman had text the person they were dating after the second date. So they'd initiated a conversation after the second date. And so we asked them, what is it that you're hoping? Actually, let's take a step back. What is most interesting first is that someone is asking, what should I do? Because within that, it means that that person isn't certain about how to handle that situation and therefore isn't feeling fully confident in that connection right now. So if you're asking yourself after a date, after an interaction, what should I do? And you're looking for advice, that within itself shows that you're not feeling fully confident internally or related to this situation. So that's interesting information to start with. They then said, or then we asked them, what is it that you want to achieve through sending the text message? Which might seem like a simple question, but it reveals a lot about how we're feeling internally, or how this person was feeling internally, and therefore what the best course of action would be. And we could tell from the body language of this person that they were feeling a bit uncertain or a bit insecure. And so, we said, look, are you trying to, by texting them first, are you trying to get reassurance in that connection by speaking very quickly after the end of the date? Because as I say, it was around lunchtime, so it was only a few hours that everyone had sort of been up and awake and doing things. So is it because you're looking for reassurance, or is it because you really enjoy speaking to that person, you're confident in the connection, you know it's moving towards something more serious and you had a great date, and therefore by you texting them, it's about sharing an experience or creating connection, or just because you want to speak to them in the same way that you would a friend? Like, when you don't really hesitate texting a friend or a family member because you're confident in that connection, you know that you get on already and that you care about one another, and therefore when you're texting them, it's because you see something that makes you think of them, or you want to speak to them, or you want to see how they are. So the energy behind it is very pure and just about connection. Whereas if you're coming from a place of urgency and actually I really need to hear from this person within a certain amount of time after the date for me to feel confident in myself and where this is going, then that means the energy behind the action is more about reassuring yourself and making yourself feel better than it is about connection with that person. And so if you're not sure whether to text someone or not, ask yourself first, what is it that I'm hoping to get out of it? Is it connection or is it reassurance? And secondly, how do you feel internally within your body at that moment? Because if you're feeling calm, confident, trusting, secure, and it feels natural to text them, then do it. If internally you feel nervous, urgent, insecure, and you need to see a certain behavior from this person to feel better within yourself, then our advice would be not to send a text at that moment, because usually that other person can pick up on that energy, whether you intend to or not. And you're looking for validation from that person that you can only really give yourself. Because if you're feeling insecure in that moment, even if you got that text back right away and they said, oh, I had the best time with you last night, definitely want to see you again, etc., it might make you feel better for a second, but usually that unease, that tension, that urgency that's sitting inside of us is a bigger fear that's linked to, I don't know if I'm good enough for this person, or I've had dating situations that haven't worked out before, or I've been abandoned before. And usually the fear or insecurity or nervousness is something bigger within us than just that person. And therefore, even getting that bit of reassurance usually isn't enough. So what we would recommend in that situation is then, if you're feeling confident, as we say, just go ahead and send the text. If you're not sure, or you're feeling nervous or have some unease within your body, we would suggest not doing anything right away and focusing on making yourself feel better by dropping the energy that you are putting into that person, which usually feels like this attached energy, right? Like, I really want to hear from them. I need to hear from them right now. What are they doing? Are they thinking about me, etc.? Drop that sort of energy that you're putting onto them and bring it back to yourself and give yourself what you need from them. So is it love? Is it reassurance? Is it telling yourself that the things that you want to hear from them, that you're lovable, you're liked, they are a stable person within your life, that you are worthy of dating, you're worthy of commitment, whatever it is that you need reassurance on or you're feeling doubtful around, inquire internally on that and then give yourself that reassurance first and wait till you feel more calm and confident and positive before you text them. So going back to this example then, we went through the questions with this individual and we said, what is it that you're hoping to get? And that person realised that they were really looking for reassurance at that moment because they have more of an anxious attachment style and therefore get nervous, especially as dating progresses. Okay. And also they were feeling nervous about the fact that they had initiated contact last time after the second date. And therefore they were nervous about doing that again. So we said to them, look, what is going to feel better for you? Is it, and they also said through the conversation that they knew if they text that the person they were dating would text back. So we said, look, based on that, it doesn't seem like you actually doubt the connection or your communication. You believe this person is going to text you back if you text them first. You believe that you have a good enough connection and you had a good enough date that you're going to carry on speaking. It just seems like the hurdle is texting them first and a nervousness about doing that across 2 dates. So and this is the third question, what's going to be more reassuring for you? Is it going to be hearing from this person straight away and having that urgency around it and almost having that bit of reassurance immediately? Or are you actually going to feel better in the long term if that person texts you first, even if you have to wait a bit longer for it? And again, the reason that's really important is because, yes, this person wanted the communication to feel better, but I think deep down they knew, and we got to this through the questions, that if they initiated the text first, yes, they would have got a reply, but it would have felt unsatisfying or played into their insecurities to some degree because they'd fallen back into a previous pattern of initiating more. And by waiting for the person they were dating to message them first, it would give them the more important, bigger reassurance that it was going to be an equal partnership of 2 people mutually pursuing one another and making equal effort. which is what that person wants from a relationship going forward. So, what's more important to you? Is it getting that immediate communication and satisfying that need right now? Or is it setting up the right kind of behaviors for the relationship that you want? So what's the dynamic that you're working towards? And these are all useful questions to ask yourself whenever you're stuck in a dating situation. What's the outcome that I want? How do I feel? What are the options? So what things could I do? And what's going to make me feel best? And then the final question that we asked was, and again, working through this example, if you were to trust and feel confident, or imagine that most confident version of you approaching this situation, and you trusted fully in yourself, you trusted fully in that person, you trusted in your connection, what would you do? And the reaction to that was, well, I would trust that they're going to text me because we have a connection and we mutually like each other. And I would relax, I wouldn't be stressing about this. I would be enjoying my day, doing the activities that I'm doing, getting things done that I need to get done. And I would just trust and believe that it's going to work out and I'm going to hear from them. So I said, okay, great, do that. Trust and relax. And again, that's another really important tip. And we'll do a separate video on this. Another really important dating tip is that most of these questions that pop up, if you're not sure what to do, you can ask yourself these coaching questions. But most of the time it comes down to trust, confidence, and relaxation. Are you confident in yourself? Are you trusting in yourself, the other person, the connection that you have? And if you were to relax by either, self-soothing or distracting yourself, getting on with your day, it usually works out. And most things in life tend to work out how you want them to if you feel confident and relax. So anyway, later that day, the day carried on for this person we were speaking to. And then they did hear from that person that they went on the third date with, and they ended up, having a nice conversation. And maybe it was a bit later than they would have texted if they'd initiated it, but the reassurance that they got, or the positive feelings that they got through waiting and trusting and being confident in themselves, but also that the dynamic between them is moving in their desired direction, it played out and it worked out. And so now they're back in communication. And you can apply these same questions to several other dating scenarios. So we've also had conversations with people about, should I add this person on Instagram? Maybe they're speaking on an app and look, I want to get their number, I want to get their Instagram. What should I do? And again, we would ask them the same questions. Well, what makes you want to add them on Instagram? What do you hope to get out of it? And they, there's one example I'm thinking of where they said, oh, well, I'd like to get to know them a bit better by seeing what their posts are and their stories are and, how they live their day-to-day life. And also, verify that they're who they say in the app. Okay, so what's holding you back from doing that is another good question. And the person said, well, I don't want to seem too keen. So again, your options are to add them or not to add them, or wait for the other person to add you. What is it you're hoping to get out of it? Okay, I want to get to know them better. So I could, just meet up with them in person. What are you worried about? Okay, well, it could be that it comes across too keen. What would the most confident, trusting version of you do? Oh, well, if I was feeling fully confident, I wouldn't even think about this. I would just add them because it would give me the insight into their life that I want. Okay, we'll do that then. But if you don't feel confident, don't do it. So that's what we're trying to say here, is that dating can feel very complicated, and with loads of differing advice online, we can look to different sources of information. We can go and ask friends, we can go and ask family, and sometimes they can give us, this is what you should do. But actually, if we just take that moment to look internally and think, well, what do we hope to get out of it? What are the options in front of us? What would be the sort of pros and cons of each option? Where do I want this to go? Or in the bigger scheme of things, what kind of relationship do I want to set up? Which is usually one based on vulnerability and mutual exchange and connection. And what would that most confident and trusting version of you do? Well, usually they would just go ahead and do the action. or, you know, not even think about it. It would just be natural because you'd be feeling fully confident. So hopefully that helps. There's some questions that you can use in several dating scenarios, and it will help you in the moment to make decisions that are right for you and feel authentic to you, and also build that self-awareness on how am I feeling internally, and therefore what makes me want to do this action, or what's making me nervous not to do it, or whether to do it or not, and therefore figure out how you can respond in the most authentic way possible, and also connect more to that most confident, trusting version of you. And how does that version of you show up like? Because with practice, that will become more and more natural, and you'll feel increasingly confident handling these dating situations, figuring out what's right for you without necessarily having to ask other people for advice. And you'll find what a more natural dating approach is for you as well, because you'll be more attuned to what feels good. You know, do you like texting lots? Do you prefer to just organise to meet up? How often do you like to see somebody? And then you can become more attuned to, well, what actions are going to be in alignment with that and create the dynamics that I want. And you'll be able to look more at the behaviour you're seeing from someone else and think about how to react in a way that will get you closer to that, rather than, it can be very easy when texting, I think, to overanalyze someone else's behaviour. And maybe should have started with this actually, this would have been a good opening point. Overanalyze someone else's behaviour and try and see whether that indicates that they like us or not, right? Or like you or not. Or to how much they like us. And because our energy is going to them and analysing them, we're giving them our power. Whereas we empower ourselves when we bring it back to us and think about, what do we want? What do I want? And how can I show up in a way that creates that? So take your power back. I hope those questions are helpful. If you have any thoughts, would love to hear down below, or you have any questions or other dating scenarios that you're grappling with, or if you try the questions or that self-inquiry, how did you get on? Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting and subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.